You may kindly note that we are following all the government rules and regulations, SOP, for this event. We at CREDAI-MCHI have been implementing all the rules and regulations as per the COVID-19 related guidelines laid by the government, and for this event, we have taken necessary precautions and restricted to a gathering as per the norms. Keeping your distance, remember, don't shake hands or exchange physical greetings. Sanitize your hands whenever possible. So, can we commence the meeting? Can you call others? Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to begin the program now. Would request all of y'all to stand in honor of our national anthem.
Leadership with trust.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा
तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मागे
गाहे तब जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you. Please be seated. I extend a very warm and a hearty welcome to all of you in this momentous occasion. I can't believe our first exclusive was on 1st of September 2021, and now here we are for the second edition of the exclusive at Dilwalo Ki Dilli. It's a very proud moment for CREDAI-MCHI procurement wing that we have real estate developers from not only Mumbai but across India, from Pune, Gujarat, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Kolkata, and of course from the capital of India. Exclusive CREDAI-MCHI is an advanced networking and a conceptualized networking platform to provide its members with first-hand updates on the latest construction technology, innovation with a special pricing exclusively for CREDAI-MCHI Habitu, and initiative led by the CREDAI-MCHI Procurement Wing. I, Charmi Parekh, on behalf of the entire CREDAI-MCHI Procurement Wing, welcomes you all and thanks all the procurement heads, directors, and architects who are present here for the second day workation with unlimited networking, business, and of course fun. Like Mr. T.D. Joseph always quotes, work hard and party harder. It's become our entire team's motto now. I would like to introduce all the delegates present here so that we all can know each other. I will be calling out names, and I request if you can just raise your hands from your seats. Mr. Nimish Ajmera, Ajmera Realty and Infra India Limited. Mr. Nilesh Puranik, Puranik Developers. Mr. Akshay Agarwal, Arihant Superstructures Limited. Mr. Mahesh Ingle, Adani Electricity. Mr. Tulsidas Nayak, Adani Realty. Mr. Deeman Choksi, Ajmera Realty Infra India Limited. Ms. Seema Jobanputra, Ashar Group. Ms. Shalini Pachupate, Usher Group. Mr. Manish Shah Bakeri Projects Private Limited. Mr. Prabhakar Madiwal Brigade Group. Mr. Mohan Upadhyay Capsicum Global. Mr. Gurpreet Kohli Embassy Group. Mr. Kamal Balani Embassy Group. Mr. Rohan Bagadia Flora Group. Ms. Poona Mengle Godrej Properties Limited. Mr. Ketan Sheth Goldmine Project Consultant. Mr. Deepak Vibhute Hiranandani Communities. Mr. Vivekanand Bhatt JP Infra Realty Private Limited. Mr. Chandresh Mehta Keystone Realtors, he's still on his way. Mr. Mukesh Jetli Kolte Patil Developers. Okay. Mr. Uma Shankar Sase Kolte Patil Developers. Mr. Srinivas Alia My Home Construction Private Limited. Mr. Jagdish Hote Nyati Engineering and Consultant Private Limited. Mr. Nagesh Sakharkar Nyati Engineers and Consultants Private Limited. Mr. Subhash Gupta Piramal Realty. Mr. Nilesh Puranik Builders. Mr. Ashish Joshi Purvankara Limited. Mr. Sandeep Shah Ravesha Realtors. Mr. G.S. Balaji Reliance Industries Limited. Mr. Prateek Bhatewara Rohan Group. Mr. Prashant Mewada Runwal Group, he's just on his way. Mr. M.S. Darukesh from SD Corporation. Mr. Sanjeev Junjunwala Salapuria Properties Private Limited. Mr. Ravindra Thakkar Sri Naman Developers. Mr. Ramesan VP Shobha Limited. Mr. Ketan Javdekar Studio K7. Mr. Murli Nilanti Sumadura Infracon Private Limited. Mr. D.R. Jalan Suntech India. He is the senior most out here. Mr. Anil Pathak Clover Realty. So we have someone from, from Delhi as well. We have Mr. Ajit Kumar Singh from Gulshan Homes. Mr. Rakesh Kumar Jha from Gulshan Homes. Mr. Dilip Singh from Wave Infra. Mr. Naveen Kumar Garg from Ashiana. And he has his team as well. And Mr. Dilbag Singh Pashwal from Vatika. And we have Mr. Easwaran sir from M3M. He's swimming right now, okay. Well, जैसे lights के बिना festivals नहीं, lock के बिना safety नहीं, windows के बिना soundproofing नहीं, life के बिना ऊंची buildings नहीं, lift के बिना ऊंची buildings नहीं, sorry. I'm sure you all have figured out by now what I'm trying to say. So let me take this opportunity to thank all our event partners, as without your support and participation, this event would have not been complete. Let me introduce our event partners. Title partner, Jacquard and Company Private Limited. Bath and Light Solutions. Powered by partner, Dorset Industries Private Limited. Door, hardware, locking systems, furniture and kitchen fittings. KNS Manufacturing, aluminium foam work. Our premium partners, Everest Industries Limited, fiber cement based construction material and pre-engineering building. Polycab India Limited, electrical goods. Tata Pravesh, Doors and Windows. Build On Plasters Private Limited, Building and Construction, our patron partners. EcoShine Facility Management Services, Integrated Facility Management Services. JSW Steel Limited, Steel. Kuchi Play Systems Private Limited, Playground Equipments, Outdoor Fitness Gym Equipment and Safety Flooring. Magpie Living Private Limited, Modular Kitchens, Wardrobes and Vanes. PRISM Johnson Limited, RMC India Division, Ready Mix Concrete and Aggregate. RR Global Wires and Cables, Magnet Wires, Electromechanical Car Parking Systems. Our preferred partners, Deconic India Private Limited, UPVC Profiles for Windows and Doors. Fujitech India Private Limited, Elevators, Escalators, Auto Walks. Creative Partner, Markenzo Worldwide. Event Partner, Smart Consulting Services. Before we move on, we have a quick presentation by our premium partner. First presentation is by Tata Pravesh. I would like to invite Mr. Vinay Tyagi, Head of Marketing, for the presentation.
I would request 2 members from each participating brand to take their chairs inside. 2 members from each participating brand. Yeah, on the inner side, opposite the developers. You can take your chairs, 2 members from each participating brand. 2 members from each participating brand, please. Someone can take the first seat, please. 2 members each only. Fujitech. Two members each. You have to sit on the inner circle. 2 members each only from each company. Everyone is in? We can start, please. Thank you.
Just 1 second. Before we commence the meeting, can we have a lamp lighting session? So would request Mr. Nimish Ajmera, Mr. Nilesh Puranik, Mr. Akshay Agarwal, Mr. Hari Easwaran, Mr. T.D. Joseph, Mr. Saurabh Bansal and Mr. Parvez Amin and Mr. Atul Desai to come on stage for the lamp lighting.
शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपज्योतिर्परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपो हरतु मे पापं सन्ध्यादीपनमोऽस्तुते ओ दीपब्रह्मरूपस्त्वं ज्योतिषां प्रभुरव्ययः ओ दीपब्रह्मरूपस्त्वं ज्योतिषां प्रभुरव्ययः आरोग्यं देहि पुत्रांश्च मतिं स्वच्छां हि मे सदा रवेरस्तं समारभ्य यावत् सूर्योदयो भवेत् रवेरस्तं समारभ्य यावत् सूर्योदयो भवेत् यस्य तिष्ठे गृहे दीपः तस्य नास्ति दरिद्रता शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते.
Thank you so much. May I request Mr. Vinay Tyagi to come and present?
Hello, namaste, good evening everyone. There is a short AV to introduce us, and then there are a bunch of two, three quick messages that I would like to deliver on behalf of Tata Steel's Tata Pravesh division.
We thought it would be Tata IPL.
Yeah, I wish like we got some space there. It would have been fun. Yeah, if you could just play the AV first.
Leadership with trust. This is the guiding principle of the Tata Group, a global enterprise comprising over 100 independent operating companies. Its business spans multiple industries, from salt to steel. Tata Steel Limited is among the top global steel companies. It is one of the world's most geographically diversified steel producers, with operations and commercial presence across the globe. Tata Pravesh, one-of-a-kind wall-opening solutions, is an offering from Tata Steel, combining the strength of steel with the elegance of wood. These come in a wide range, catering to both residential and commercial use. Tata Pravesh is a one-stop solution with support across product selection, drawings approval, delivery, installation, and after-sales service. The products promise unmatched strength, termite resistance, fire resistance, are weatherproof, and maintenance-free. They meet all essential standards and have been conferred the requisite certifications. Tata Pravesh has replaced the use of wooden, flush, and PVC doors in a variety of projects pan-India. These include retail, hospitality, institutional, healthcare, commercial, and residential segments. Key benefits include unparalleled convenience, as the customer deals with one vendor instead of multiple vendors. Every product embodies consistency in quality, a hallmark of the Tata legacy. Being factory fitted, there is less turnaround time in execution by our trained installation team, backed by standard warranty. Timely deliveries are ensured with on-site coordination support. Service camps with proactive health checkup for products installed in large projects is a unique offering. Tata Pravesh is a value for money offering with superior aesthetics. There are a variety of wood and non-wood finishes to choose from. Ease of installation is ensured by trained technicians. Customers are assured of zero maintenance, as there is no seasonal impact on the products. Tata Pravesh is a sustainable offering, as no trees are cut in making, and the offerings are 100% recyclable. Additionally, it is the first Green Pro certified steel door in the country, all of which contributes to making our world cleaner and greener. Tata Pravesh, akela hi kafi hai.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for playing that. Am I audible right till there, like at the back? Yeah. So first of all, I'd like to thank you so much. Thank you all so much for showing up here, and I've heard like best of the industry's name here, and I think this is also happening after a long time. I remember landing in Delhi to attend this event in January. Attend this event in January, and it never actually happened. So like really excited to be here with the fraternity present. I'd like to start by saying that as a steel company, there is an unprecedented hike in prices that we are seeing. But as a seller, as a marketer, we are also extremely cognizant of the fact that real estate as an industry, developers as businesses, are going through a very, very difficult time. And why I can say that, because as a seller, we are trying to also, sell a product at a much higher price just because, sorry. Is it audible now? Like, yeah. So as a seller, it's very difficult for us also to fetch the higher price from consumer because of the whatever commodity cycle is going on. So my first point is that we are extremely cognizant of the fact that there are bottom line pressure, and not all the increases in commodity prices can be passed on to consumer, to the customer, to the end user. So that's the first thought, first reflection which I had, which I wanted to share, and I look forward to like interacting on how can we collectively solve this. The second thing is, as a relatively newer division in Tata Steel, we are doing pretty well. Like we are 4 or 5 years old business. Last couple of years, we have already built a capacity to deliver close to 20,000 units of doors every month, which essentially means that any large project, we can help serve fairly large projects in a fairly short period of time. Like let's say if there is something coming up, 2 to 3 months, we can deliver you. Like most of the scope of like large projects can be covered through that kind of capacity. Second important thing which I just wanted to bring out in this is the another capability that we have built. We are not only a products company. So I like to say it this way that, you know, our service team is much bigger than the sales team. What we essentially do is there is an entire service vertical which helps you execute the doors and window project at your site. So we have entire cadre of project execution team that works with your site team to actually execute the project within the time. And we agree on those timelines at the time of closing the order. Third thing which I wanted to highlight is there are a lot of innovation which architect fraternity brings in the design of the newer projects. There is a dedicated set of people. We have brought in people who have worked with design studios, who are like architects, or who are design engineers who have worked in automobile design and all. We have created a small team of around 10 people that can possibly work with your designers, your interior design team to actually create some custom solutions for large projects. So those kind of capabilities, my sense is that we can actually address some of the core requirements that you have as a developer. Now let me also address the elephant in the room. We are also, as we are a new company, we are very, very aggressive and competitive. And we have taken that position consciously over last couple of quarters. And I'm proud to say that, you know, we are already largest doors, prefabricated doors company, and the second company is like less than half the size now. So I would really want to emphasize that, you know, give us a chance to work with you, give us a chance to collaborate. I'm really looking forward to interacting with as many of you as possible through the evening. And yeah, that's pretty much it from my side. I'm happy to take any questions if there are any right now, or we can definitely connect later.
So any questions?
If there are any questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, we can. What hardware you use? Oh. Dorset, of course.
Dorset, yes.
Every door that we sell, we partner with Dorset for that, and they're fantastic partners. Like they're absolutely fantastic. We are proud to be partners with Dorset.
Good marketing, by the way.
Good surrogate marketing.
Thank you, Mr. Tyagi. Moving on, I would like to invite our next premium partner, Everest Industries, Mr. Bijit Purushothaman, National Sales Head for the same.
Come on, Bijit.
Mr. Bijit.
We'll go with next.
So by the time he comes, we can actually go on to our next presentation. Mr. Bijit.
Actually, he's presenting. So we'll call Rahul. No problem. Where is Rahul?
Can we have Mr. Rahul?
Yeah, please come. पूरे और किसी को बुलाना है, Bijit?
So this face
No.
is
Good evening, everyone. Joseph, at last we started. Is Mr. Rahul Chopra is our business head with an experience of almost more than 35 years in this building material industry. This is my colleague Bhavesh Kumar Jha is national head for metro cities, Bangalore, Bombay and Delhi. And I'm Bijit Purushothaman. I'm with the company for last 23 years in the building industry. I'm the national head for non-metros. So we welcome you to the world wherein, our pain, any builder or developer's pain is wherein to get the project completed in time. And we also have a concern wherein availability of sand, cement or water is a concern. So our complete solution is a purely dry construction. So over to Rahul, sir.
Yeah, so we are into the area of dry construction, and our vision is to improve lives by reimagining spaces. Today, in a world where all costs are going up, construction costs are going up, uh, the overall availability of basic raw material is going up. We have economical, ready to use building construction products which can help execute the construction sites faster in an economical way. Our range of products are all green certified. 30% of the world's pollution is caused by construction products. We are dry construction, 80% lower dust, and 4 times faster and much lower water consumption. And a lot of the material can be salvaged and recycled also if need be, and very low debris creation. First and foremost, we are with our heavy duty boards, very good for external weathering. They are high density boards, can withstand any kind of external weathering, can be used as facades, can be used as walls, and for numerous applications in the external environment. It's the only board which can actually withstand external weathering. Then a lot of our products, you can create these kind of aesthetic jalis, either for fencing or duct encasement or hiding the various facilities that run through a building. Then we have the Artwood range. This is a range of wooden looking cement planks, very natural, very nice, and can be used in wet areas, doesn't get impacted by water or termite or fire in any way. Then we have a stone cladding known as art stone. We have 4 designs in art stone: miral, brick, crumpled, and sandstone. Again, can give you the look of stone at a much lower cost compared to natural stone. Then we have designer ceilings. You have a lot of areas in a building where you require wet area ceilings or exposed ceilings. These are ideal products. Today we all know that various kind of ceiling products that were being imported are being restricted, or the cost has shot up abnormally high. And our ceiling tiles are very competitive, and again, no water, moisture, termite, no warping occurs with our ceiling tiles. So these are some of the new designs we have in ceiling tiles being launched in the market. We have drywall construction with Rapicon. 50 mm and 75 mm drywalls can be created. Partitions can be created in commercial and residential spaces at a very economical cost and very fast, 4 times faster than regular brick construction. Then we have the color compressed boards, pigmented boards. These are some of our projects. You can see here motorized louvers have been used using our heavy duty boards. This is something we did in COVID times for a healthcare. We have constructed something like, or helped construct something like 67 COVID facilities. And just to give you a small glimpse of what we do in the healthcare space. Sound.
it has also revealed its limitations. In a knowledge economy, an organization's success will still depend on face-to-face interaction and collaboration.
The immediate impact of the pandemic is pushing organizations in the opposite direction. There is a need for more space per employee. With more and more people getting back to office, building collaborative workspaces in the shortest period of time is the need of the hour.
When we wanted to create our own office in a record time of 2 months, the choice of material was very clear. Everest drywalls and cladding systems were used to cover 10,500 square feet. The entire construction was made ready in just 12 days.
Everest drywall system, which is made using Everest heavy-duty boards and the wall frames. It comes from 67 mm thickness to 250 mm thickness.
The solid drywall systems made of sandwiched Rapicon panels are ready-made walls of 50 mm and 75 mm that are perfect for data centers, IT rooms and wet areas because of its superior moisture and fire rating. These are non-load bearing walls that are very easy to install.
We used these products not only for partitions stronger and cleaner than a gypsum or a wooden partition, but we also use the products for partitions in the toilet areas and also paneling materials. Everest manufactures panels which look absolutely like stone paneling and wood paneling. We also could paint the boards. We could also digitally print the boards. So we laser cut them, we made fluted panels. We hardly used wallpaper. We hardly used any other paneling materials. We also realized the workers were enjoying it because it was very clean, it was very dust free, it was hygienically and aesthetically also very pleasing. The products that Everest manufactures is water resistant, is termite free, is fire resistant, very clean, green, sustainable, and that was the beauty of this entire product.
Spectacular feature walls to flute finish pillars and wall linings, or detailed CNC cut jollies that can be used in partitions, louvers or duct encasements. Everest fiber cement board has a wide range of applications for any modern office project. We are reimagining spaces to improve lives.
So these are just some quick images that were there. So you can build faster, you can build more economically, you can build in a more environmentally friendly fashion by using these range of products. Come and have a look at it. We have a small exhibit. My team is here today and tomorrow to interact with all of you and talk to you about the benefits of these new age and new generation building products. Thank you very much. He's a COVID champion.
And I mean, we have been proud enough being not on the profit center aspect, being partnered in that COVID situation wherein people were looking for beds, or people were looking for centers. And I'm sure big developers for future, you can also think of in any apartment coming up, creating a small quarantine area or small isolation areas as an additional package. And each hospitals are right now doing that, forecasting. COVID is not gone. I mean, COVID may come in between as is going to be a part of our life. So I'm sure being experienced people, you can think of adding on this element in any of your buildings. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Team Everest. In case of any questions, you all can ask them whilst they are at your table. Next presentation is by JSW Steel Limited, our premium partner. I would like to invite Mr. Aniruddha, Senior Vice President, for the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good evening, everybody. So first of all, let me thank you for giving us an opportunity to me and our team members. So let me introduce Mr. Vinay Pandey, who heads the business development for the construction segment. Mr. Puneet, who heads the business development for JSW Severfield, who are our joint venture partners, and they give fabrication solutions, steel fabrication solutions. And Mr. Beno D'Souza, who heads the business development for the infrastructure segment. So I will just briefly introduce JSW Steel. So perhaps most of you are already aware that JSW Steel today is the largest steel company in India. And we are a part of a very well diversified JSW group, which has presence in various sectors of national importance, including energy, cement, etc. We have been one of the fastest growing companies, if I may use that phrase, in our country. And we have been pivotal in removing the supply side constraints in steel by growing very fast. Today we have a capacity of 28 million metric tons in India. Over the last three decades, we have grown from being a single location plant to a multi-locational pan-India company. The biggest plant in our country is the Vijayanagar plant of JSW Steel, which has a capacity of 12 million metric tons. So we have now a pan-India presence and growing very fast. Over the next 3 years, we are going to grow from 28 million metric tons to around 37.5 million metric tons by the financial year 25. As you can see, we have presence across all the segments of Indian economy, all the end-use segments. And we also have a unique set of distribution network called JSW Shopee, which gives service at your doorstep. And we have finishing facilities at most of these places, so that we can give you value-added products as well. We believe in working very closely with various end-use sectors. We believe in understanding their end-use requirements and tailoring our products technically from the point of view of service as well to meet the stringent requirements of various end applications. Finally, we also have this product which is color-coated. It's got a unique balance of aesthetics, strength, as well as end application tailored products which meet the very stringent requirements for various applications in building construction as well as interiors. Suffice to say here that sustainability is at the heart of JSW. And finally, we have been partners in various projects of national importance, including the bullet train project, and our own building is an iconic building in BKC Mumbai, which is made of steel. So with this, I request my colleague, Mr. Vinay Pandey, to take over and share with you very quickly some of the benefits of steel buildings that we have made.
Thank you. If you see why today the steel is not being used in most of the infrastructure and projects in India, though globally, whenever you see the higher GDP countries with higher growth rate, they all have higher per capita steel consumption. So we interacted with various stakeholders to understand what are their main pain points and how we can work together to maintain and develop an ecosystem which can grow the steel consumption as well as the growth of our country. So there are three major factors. One is the maintenance, higher capex, and lack of standardization and ecosystem in our country. But on the second, on the right side, if you see that if we consider the life cycle concept, the steel buildings or any infrastructure projects, if you go, you will save a lot of time. So if the building can be completed by, it will take 50% less time. And if you have end of the life value, you will get the scrap value from that particular project, building or infrastructure at the end of the life. It is 100% recyclable in number of times, more sustainable material. And there are paints available today which will give, if you paint for one time, it will give you a life of 35, 40 years. So the concept which was maybe 30 years back, that you have to paint every 2 years in infrastructure and all, has gone today. So today there are a lot of paints, multinationals, which is available. In the Japan, there the bridges and other structures has been painted, which has lasted today 35 years. So, and you see the society cost, the less dust, less pollution due to various construction activities in and around. So you will save the life cycle cost, society cost will be less, the health cost and other things, the dismantling cost. you need a special area to dispose all these garbages at the end of the life. While in a steel, you replace it to different location, reuse it, or you can remelt it. So it promotes a circular economy. And it is 100% recyclable and circular economies. Now, there is one particular steel, weathering steel. So if you see, this can be used as an outer cladding. The top portion is a Patna museum. This weathering steel has been used as an outer cladding. And the international uses, if you see some example that in UK building, the Japan, this Hokkaido Memorial Tower has been made. And the beauty of this particular steel is, if you use as a cladding, it changes color of its own over a period of time. If you see the construction which has been done in 1969 has changed the color in 2010 in a natural way. So you do not need to paint it. It reduces the maintenance cost, and absolutely it will reduce the cost as well. If the structures are made out of the weathering steel, it will further reduce the cost substantially. So how do we take it forward as in a collaborative approach? So there are two things. We need to have a concept promotion so that the people, architect, designers, understands the advantages and take this forward in a win-win situation for the society, for environment, and for the growth of the nation. And we also need a standardization. That design needs to be standardized so that there is a mass production, and those designs has to be approved by competent authorities, so designers and architects can directly adopt from the design library. So we are, as a steel organization, we are working very closely with some academic institutions like IITs and all. So we integrate the concept of a steel as a structure design in the integrated their academic course. Plus, we are also interacting with various associations so that we promote this concept. This is one of the forum where we create a macro level awareness. Plus, we are working with various associations of Bridge Engineers Association or Building Engineers Association, developers, so as we percolate this knowledge and disseminate this. The experience of global players are also being disseminated through World Steel Forum, and one such meeting is planned in the month of September in India. So awareness campaign and the software development, which will integrate with the design concept, so that you don't have to design it fully, completely from the scratch. You take from the library, and the design tool will be also be available as a software. Those things we are working collaboratively with institutions and designers. So the paradigm shift is needed for the larger benefit of the society and adopt a life cycle cost advantages and approach. If we move in that direction, we also need a lot of steel in various shapes and size, which is used for construction. So we have a joint venture company, JSW India and Sowerfield UK. Sowerfield UK is the largest fabricator in Europe. And through this joint venture, we can give you complete solution of building and any structure. So now I invite Mr. Puneet Puri, who is head of the business development for JSW Sowerfield, to take you through some practical examples which has been implemented in India.
Good evening all. Been delighted to be here back in the Vijayanagar works of JSW, and over the last 12 years what we have done is close to around 130 buildings successfully delivered across various sectors. And Sowerfield, as Vinay had introduced, is the largest fabricator in the UK, having a capacity of 150,000 tons per annum. Our facility in Bellary is around 100,000 tons per annum, and what we offer is a end-to-end solution for fabricated steel for buildings, not just the design, manufacturing and erection but starting with the value engineering and early contractor involvement to begin early as you plan, and we have been rather empaneled design consultants for the structure part for most of the developers whom we have worked, and I'll show some of the glimpses as we move forward. But also we have our in-house trained team for erection. Our safety standards have actually outpaced that of our 50% parent in UK. So you don't have to be dependent on unskilled labor for a critical construction like steel. So few of the things, we have a fully automated plant, as I mentioned, 100,000 metric tons capacity and over 130 projects. And as we speak right now, we are working on a project number 172, so which shows that there are 42 in the pipeline. Assured supply of steel from Jindal Group, but then we have arm's length transaction with other groups as well. We also produce metal deck for our projects. So, and it's a true composite metal deck which has fire resistant rating of over 4 hours. Glimpses of our operations, we can discuss more when we speak one-to-one. I talked about speed, and Vinay also mentioned that it can speed can be reduced by 50%, but it's not just speed. We offer larger carpet area, which would be a delight for most of the developers, and this is one of the examples from one of our projects itself. And not just the carpet area, but also steel being lighter can go taller, yet does not need too much of digging for the excavation. So you can have taller buildings with lighter skeleton. The operations are safe with very less people on the site. Sustainability is the other thing which I mentioned, and today is Earth Day, so it's not just a fad, but it's a requirement for us and for our generations coming forward. And therefore it's important to use a material which improves circular economy, which Vinay was mentioning earlier, and also did mention by the team from Everest. Collage of our real estate projects. The one on the left is the tallest building in Colombo called Altair. We did the ATC in Mumbai, and many other you are seeing here. So few of the projects for offices like the ones over here for Satwa Knowledge Park, Phoenix, where we have a framework agreement with them. The building in the bottom middle is a top-down structure, the second of its kind in the world and first of its kind in Asia. Steel frame data centers, we have delivered 8 data centers so far, and the speed is so good that we have been doing turning around 2 lakh square feet in 8 weeks flat. Residential projects, and one on the rightmost is Earth Enclave. It started with a project called Earth Classic, where Earth Classic was in Matunga. This one's in Girgaon area in South Bombay. So because of very restrictive site and the client himself wanting to do the structure in steel, after the success of the first building, which was a 10-story building done in 8 weeks, this is a 42-story high-rise. We are doing it in steel. It's conceptualized and being done purely in steel. Just a repetition of the commercial projects. We do definitely the industrial projects. Most of the projects for JSW we are doing, but not just that. We have done projects for many others, as you see the glimpses on the side. And that's it. I think I have stuck to my timelines, and I'll be happy to discuss with you further.
Thank you, Team JSW. Let us move on towards the business and networking part of the day, the one-on-one meetings. And for the smooth functioning of the flow, I would request all of you to make a mental note of few guidelines which will save a lot of our time and energy. Time allocated for the networking will be 8 minutes on each table. Request all the participating brands to kindly shift to the next table once the buzzer plays. This is primarily to break the ice with each other and discuss the possible business. You may further meet the teams in the second session today or in their offices for detailed discussion. Don't forget to share your card and your smile. Thank you.
We can start with the networking sessions. Most of you all have participated in the event. The developers will be seated and the ancillary participating brands would be rotational. You get 7 to 8 minutes to interact with each developer and then move to the next table. We have a few empty tables over here. If ancillary brands can take over. I request you to please turn the sides. Table number 1 moves to table number 2, table number 2 moves to table number 3. The developers would be seated, the participating brands would be rotational. Please keep interacting with the developers you have in front of you. आएंगे ना नीचे आएंगे ना तो बोल देंगे आपकी जगह निवेश सर निवेश पुरानी कर ऐसे कुछ कर लेंगे
कितने बजे जाना है उधर
8 बजे 8:30 बजे तक
ये कपड़े पहनूं कि कपड़े
चेंज करो टी शर्ट गाड़ी अपने में गाड़ी है आप जब बोलोगे तब आपको टाइम 12 बजे तक आज भी कल भी है कल का इम्पोर्टेंट है
तो करेंगे आज
हाँ नहीं थोड़ा रिलैक्स हो जाओगे कल लेट नाइट तक करेंगे कल का अच्छा प्रोग्राम है If you're done with the meetings, you can move to the next table, please.
That's what somebody must have told you. I know, sir. What happened? We have 14 plants. 20 is the plant from where we import. We have 2 warehouses, one in Noida and one in Chennai. I'll invite you to come and see in Noida. If you see the stocks, you will say whatever people are saying is wrong. Because we have a 60 channel partners. And you can take the reference of like brigade people are there. Most of the people are there. You can ask them. We have delivered 3 lakh square foot project within a span of shortest time of 6 months. So until this we have the material, we cannot deliver. So our infrastructure is set in an end-to-end solution. We provide the system with the sound insulation, thermal insulation. A lot of EPC companies are there in India. But they will be doing the same kind of assembly thing like computer होता था ना एक branded computer लेके assemble करके लाया तो assembly में क्या मत you know better than me I don't have to tell you because you are on purchase side correct sir so a lot of factors are there you know the branded products and branded companies have got the systems and it gives the comfortable impression to the you see, I will not blame them. Because they are also in sales and marketing. They have to do something. पत्थर मारेंगे तभी तो धंधा मिलेगा सर. But I don't do that actually. We have a testimony, we have results. In the same room, you can ask them. This part of sir, we work for 8 years.
कहाँ से चेंज करूँ?
उसका कैलकुलेशन का मेथड मेरे को कोई देगा नहीं उसको रेडिमिक्स का मिलेगा I don't worry about my operating budget. जैसे मैं कुछ नहीं all I want there.
Indirectly हुई है.
Good evening, friends. We are starting now with the panel discussion. Request you to please move your tables towards the stage and chairs. So we would like to first welcome our moderator for tonight, the man who needs no introduction, Mr. Hari Easwaran, President, Information and Technology, Contracts and Procurement, Smart World. Please. We would now welcome a very well-renowned architect, a veteran in the industry, Shri Charanjit Singh Ji Shah. Please come on the stage. We have with us architect Vivek Gupta, a very well-known name in the industry. Please join us. We have with us Mr. Akshay Agarwal, Director, Arihant Superstructures and Co-Convener, CREDAI-MCHI Procurement Wing. Please come ahead. We have Mr. Nimish Ajmera with us. Nimish Ajmera, Director, Ajmera Realty and the Convener for CREDAI-MCHI Procurement Wing. Please come on stage, sir. I would now like to hand over the mic to our moderator for tonight, Harishwan, sir.
Yes, you can hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good evening to all of you. It's a rare pleasure. And I was for 6 years with L&T and then in Bombay. So forget about Gurgaon. I've been here for last 1 year. I've seen all of you in flesh and blood. But to see all of them in flesh and blood who have come from Bombay is like we have to thank God. So big hand for all of them who have come here. It's a complete pleasure to see them in flesh and blood. Because through COVID, nobody knew who's going to be where. I think everybody has lost somebody or other whom we know. And I couldn't start with a much more powerful statement like this. So I was, listening to some motivational speaker the other day. First to go on this stage will be Nimish Ajmera ji, who is the owner or co-owner or part owner of Ajmera Realty. So all of them wanted to know कि क्या question पूछने वाला है. I said किसी को नहीं बताऊंगा मैं. उसी वक्त पे बताऊंगा who is going to go first. That's all.
And none of us are prepared with what he is going to shoot now.
Trust me, his answer will be more powerful than my question. So I was listening to some motivational speaker the other day. So he said that, if you all of you are, I think we are of that vintage where we have seen Diwar, old Diwar. Amitabh Bachchan and Shashi Kapoor are talking to each other. बोलता है कि मेरे पास बंगला है, गाड़ी है, नौकर है. तुम्हारे पास क्या है? He says मेरे पास माँ है. Now it changes. So he says मेरे पास Lamborghini है, मेरे पास Ferrari है, और मेरे पास Porsche है. बोला तुम्हारे पास क्या है? बोला मेरे पास parking space है. So after RERA has come in, one of the brilliant things it has done is that it has. I hope all of you can hear me. One more clap then, because this mic is better, I think.
Hello.
So it says after it has come, it's done a lot of good things. Like we are selling by carpet area now. So carpet area में super built up, जहाँ जितना fake किया लोगों ने वो सब हो गया अभी खाली. So it's all about efficiencies. And I think Nimish Ajmera, it's a very difficult panel discussion I'm going to do because I've got developers, I've got architects, and I've got engineers also. So the entire bandwidth is there. So I'm going to ask some very challenging questions. Nimish Ajmera, by virtue of being an owner, has seen architects and he has seen the engineers also working. So sir, I would just like to pose the first question to you in the sense of by seeing this entire bandwidth. What happens in Europe is that it's the architect who becomes the engineer, Europe and US, and goes and delivers. Here we are working in silos. Like for example, recent accident in Gurgaon. Now one is privy to all the reports that are coming out in the press. But there is complete blame game happening. The architect says the execution guy is at fault. The architect, master concept guy says the design guy is at fault. Design guy says execution is at fault. So I want, sir, your views on what is the current state and how to correct it.
Very well. the question is too hard for me to answer, frankly speaking. I'm not much aware about the incident which happened. But yes, I'll try and do my best to answer that question. So firstly, very good evening to everyone. Since I'm the first speaker, I'm trying to do my best over here. Well, the question what he's asked me is that the blame game, as compared to there is one architect who is taking the entire responsibility in some countries. Over here in India, I say that developers are privately owned business units on its own. They procure land. They try and look for an architect. They look for a structural consultant. They look for a execution contracting company who try to construct the whole building and execute it, and then deliver it as per the standards of that particular developer who is asking as to develop the whole project. So this over here works entirely. There are different portfolios which every professional is taking care of. Somebody is taking care of MEP, somebody is taking care of the structure, somebody is taking care of the sales and marketing, and so on. There's the list goes on. Having said that, it's the developer who is eventually keeping everybody intact in that whole process of executing the whole project and delivering it to the customer. So a lot of things, I would not blame any any rules and regulation over here, because over here there is a lot of ifs and buts about actually who's to be blamed and who's not. But eventually, yes, the ball sometimes even rolls down to the developer who is visualizing the project coming up in and making that project and delivering it to his customers. But yeah, I think it's just the fact remains that the whole ball game, which has a possibility of the blame game happening over between the so many teams which are involved over here. Sometimes it does happen that it's one person who is taking that responsibility, but sometimes it also happens that none of us wants to take that responsibility, and that is where this eventuality happens, that a blame game hi ho raha hai. There is nobody over here who is taking the responsibility. I would not blame an architect. I would not blame unless and until I've seen and I've understood what the incident was. Maybe if I can try and see to it, or maybe understand, then maybe I can say who was at fault and who was not at fault. I don't know if that is satisfying.
Vivek is itching to answer, but I will give him an opportunity a little later. I'll switch it a little differently to you. I'll take another minute with you. So maybe I started on the negative note of what happened and who is to be blamed. So let's look at the developer. If I'm a developer, I see that if I've conceived a project in say 2 years, it has taken 3 years. So there's a lot of thought around the fact that get digitization, get BIM early, spend more time in planning, you'll save in execution. There is a value to time, there's a money value to time, which probably the Indian environment is not aware of. So let's assume one of your projects has got delayed by 1 year. So no accident. Now, how do we get that back? Because what today happens is that you launch, the question has another angle. If you're looking at approvals, so real estate developers today like to work in adjacencies because the land is controlled by the state. So your approval syndrome is such that there are lots of examples of major players who went out and came back to their own domain. Bombay has a wonderful thing in its own, that the rates are so high that it's extremely comfortable to work there because it's an island, so it's going up. Now I'm just looking at, sir, 1 minute for you, that let's assume there's a delay of 6 months, 8 months, which we can't afford after ERA, because we have to pay back the customer what we are taking from him and paying interest. Here, is there any solution or anything that you can look large at to educate the audience as to what needs to be done? Because as I see it, I worked in these spaces. You have the master concept, master architect, then you have the concept, then you have the structural guide, then you have MEP, then you have people who come and execute, and then you have the timelines. Is there something that you can advise or suggest to us where, you know, something needs to be corrected so that, I will tell you, for example, there are now alliance contracts. I'm just thinking large, there are alliance contracts where you have cost plus contract where you get all these guys on one platform and you make a contract with all of them. So for one person's delay, the other guy gets penalized. For the other person's delay, he doesn't get penalized. So are we ready for that?
Okay, you are a master in contracts, and I come from a completely different background. So we are a family-run business, and our family is very large in terms of taking care of each and every project. So when I say we are large, almost 17 of us are involved into all the ongoing projects which are running right now in all across India, and a few projects in UK as well. Having said that, we what we do internally is that yes, there are so many different agencies, but there is a process set within our organization that each and every project, each of the family members is a part of complete decision making from the start till the end. He is responsible for that project entirely. That means to the end of the project, he is responsible, whether it is execution, whether it is land procurement, say like to the sales, and even after sales also now. Our process of executing a particular project, we get into the detailed part of that whole execution. We believe in forward engineering, wherein we have a lot of forecasts which keep happening as to what is it that we are anticipating in terms of permissions, in terms of our finance, in terms of what are challenges we are seeing it at the site, in terms of sales, and so on. The list goes on again. So we are involved into each and every activities, as I say. So when we say that the projects are running late, sometimes it happens that it is something which is beyond your control, like the force majeure clause, of course, but एक कहावत है, अगर I come from Gujarat, so कि अहमदाबाद में कभी गाड़ी चलाते हो तो आप पूरा दुनिया में गाड़ी चला सकते हो. वैसे मुंबई के अंदर में आपने कंस्ट्रक्शन का काम किया, मतलब आप पूरी दुनिया में काम कर सकते हो. It is difficult to get permissions. We are dependent on a lot of authorities, and that's something which is beyond our control. And whatever is in our control, we try and control it as much as we can. Again, these pandemics and things happen, sales pushes to a longer extent, execution kabhi band ho jata hai. There are these NGOs which can come and stop your construction at any given point of time. For there are good uses and some misuse of Right to Information Act also, jahan pe people want to just harass you for things known to them, of course. So there are good side, there are bad side. I respect the law, but at the same time, we are dependent on a lot of external situations which are beyond our control. But yes, eventually it is the developer who is supposed to take the whole blame eventually. Why I say that is because it's the entire as you say, the silos which are working to execute one particular project, and that's where the developer is controlling each and everything. So it is his responsibility eventually.
Before I ask you to give a big hand to him, I'll tell you my own personal truth. I was with L&T for 6 years. Trust me, 6 years with corporate giant, systems, governance, procedures. When you can't fault them, all the corporate giants. When you come to private developers or developers, their ears are so close to the ground, their approvals happen as of yesterday. And there could be a slight delay in corporate giants giving approvals because there are hierarchies and systems which go through. I have come into Smart World, which is a kind of brother sister company of M3M group, which are now market leaders in North India, and very soon in next 4 years, probably we'll be all over the place. And a big hand, yeah, thanks Saurabh for that. Now, I have observed here that what he says is 100% right. Their ears are so close to the ground, maybe because the money is coming out of their pocket. In corporate, nobody feels that the money is coming out of their pocket. Okay, so this, and yet approvals are as of yesterday, and we are here to create governance, but not at the expense of time. So, and I think Nimish has hit a great sweet spot there, and a big hand to him for this.
So yes, as I had said that we are, involved into each and everything. Literally speaking, permissions नहीं आ रहे हैं, साहब के सामने जाकर बैठ जाओ. That is how it is. We do not wait for that, that whole set procedures और वो सब चीज़ करने के लिए. बैठ जाओ, कैसे भी करके लाओ. And every project, teaches you something. So we are learning from, and trying to improve on each and every project of ours. That what was a learning experience? How do we ensure that we do not make that mistake again? We try and deliver the project as early as possible. And like what we just delivered one project of ours, Ajmera Trion in Vadala. That was in the fastest span what Ajmera has ever constructed, 36 months, and we have delivered a 42-story tower with everything delivered to our customers. Possession started, and so yeah, being in Bombay, if we as a private developer have done this thing, of course we are a listed company, we are answerable to our shareholders also, but we try and achieve, and we try and make ourselves own challenges, and we try and compete our own self, and get more and more better than the last project.
Thank you, Nimish bhai.
Thank you.
Fantastic hearing you. I'll switch very quickly to now the person closest to me. Charanjit sir, Professor Charanjit. For all of you who don't know him or don't know him, now we move from the outward game to the inward game. Like he's a champion of airports, champion of creative thinking. So also looks at the macroscopic, not getting into the small needle points. While I was talking to him outside, I think he spoke of real estate moving in the direction of PPP, like private-public participation. And I just know him for about 15 minutes, but I think it will be a pleasure to listen to his views on what we are talking. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Indeed, I am honored to be here with such lovely gathering, of real estate players, I was just very loudly thinking, but you are an L&T guy, I have an experience working.
I'm a smart world guy now.
Huh?
Smart world.
Okay, now, but you said you got an experience for L&T for the last 6 years. I've been working with L&T, Shah Palanji, and all these contractors on the large works of airports, maybe Chennai Airport or the other ones, the about 40 airports. I'm proudly say that I have finished in India, and now also abroad, about 6, 7 I'm doing in Africa and Nepal and other places. Why I was thinking was that now the government, as you are the eminent real estate players, you're doing on money, on land, on everything, but now government is ready to give land in PPP mode. Maybe it is railways, it is airports, it is the bus depots or any other land which is there, and practically I find those lands very lucrative, and they are in the epicenter of the city. The railways are now within the city, and where the airspace is limitless in the railway lands, and there are opportunities of doing a lot of things in case we are sensitizing ourselves to national building. Perhaps what is happening is that individually, maybe that we as players, we do in isolation one project as a real estate player and another project. Within the premises, we are very good, but when I come out, I am in a mess, and particularly when I come here in Gurgaon, I don't know where to go and how to go. It's a mushroom growth. And it's like you layer the city, one day you make metro, then you make rapid metro, then you say, oh, I need a foot over bridge, then I see another road coming, oh, I need a subway. And that is how we are into a mess of the urban. We do not have the urban awareness, how to really come up. And in Delhi, PM 2.5 is 400, and I'm passive smoker. I take 45 cigarettes a day. This is where I live. And we are all players here. We are talking about the build form within a limited area, but have we ever thought of where I'm living, how I am living, what is the walkability, what is the last mile connectivity, who will address all those things when I am just talking about pocketed development and my town is getting choked, and all of us know what is the position. So my endeavor would be that in case we club together, join together, make some sort of a master plan vision which create the city, like Vivek said, that you go to Dubai, New Bombay is New Bombay, but still I am choked. I am not finding that sort of a comfort outside, but within, okay, here in Gurgaon also, you get a flat of 25 crores, inside you have a golf, you have everything put together, but the air there also is the same 400 PM 2.5, and I am inhaling 40 cigarettes a day. So can we really think of how do you create the human settlement? And you know why? Because I think that when I have robotic, and to nomadic. Now, from when I was nomadic, I was very good below a tree, but now I have become robotic. I am artificial intelligent, but I am with a mask, oxygen cylinder, purifier. All this is in and my house is minded. I am not against all that, but all air conditioned. My houses are all with fixed glass, and 24/7 I am getting controlled atmosphere, not natural atmosphere. Can we think? Probably. That is what I wish. Can I be near the nature in a natural manner, then not into the artificial manner? Can I create layering my habitat, layering my buildings? Why I wish to go high-rise all the time? Why can't I have high-density low-rise? Why can't be near the nature and I layer the landscape, one layer to another layer to another layer, like I put a shoka outside, I put some other tree outside, then I layer my building, put some landscape, put some water body, integrate approach of all the elements of applied architecture put together, which is called a holistic architecture. And if I'm tempted to create, not in isolation, but maybe an architect who's the lead architect, taking control of all possibilities, not that I just make it lead, I make it green, but it is not sustainable. I'm trying to put in double glass or something like that, put the glass on the west, and I say, oh, great, sun is coming, I want this. So my thought would be this, that in case I am able to sensitize my build form with my 5 senses, wherein I start operating my ownership of the building, looks upon all those factors. One has to really admit that how the passive ways of architecture could be adopted in our architecture, not the cosmetic. Today, I am flared up with, all the cosmetism of architecture, but organic architecture, which is a grassroots of Indian architecture, probably is a miss. I am into the global empowerment of materials. I am in the global empowerment of everything, even the design element. Do you think that we lack architecture from Vivek or somebody, maybe me, than any other foreign architect who comes? He doesn't even know about my climatical condition and my way, my culture, my habitat, my other things put together. But that's a flavor, and I say, oh, it is by an American or somebody else minded. So today is the brain drain coming to India, then going out, and I am very fortunate that, within my team, we have American working with us. You know, not that all the time we say that Singapore or somewhere else down the line. I am not against, but let's see. That Singapore guy also having an Indian architect there, you know, sitting. Respect our own self, club together, and see that we all Indians can really make India better than any other person from outside. That's another take, what I wish that we are able to do. The most concern, which is today, is the over domination of building within the city and empowering with the material, wherein it is getting lost the human scale. We must be conscious about human scale. How do you identify a city where I live? It's like you know, everywhere it's looking like Times Square, you know, in New York, chuck, 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 lighting, and I am away from that sort of a life, which is actually adorable to me as an Indian. You know, मैं किसी घाट के ऊपर बैठा हूँ, मजे ले रहा हूँ, but can we really adopt that within the small habitat where I can put it? Maybe I talk about lighting, you talk about anything within. All those specific things are not adhering to the lux level which is nearly adopted, but I'm putting more and more, making it bright and bright so that it is sellable. You know, it's like attractive. It's, you know, customer को खींच लो, ज़्यादा लाइट दिखा के, यस साड़ी लेने जाते हैं ना कोई, तो वो 10 लाइटें और जला देते हैं, you know, और साड़ी और attractive हो जाती है. You know, that is how I am thinking that the real estate player needs to sensitize through the consciousness, through the soul. So let's see that whatever human settlement we create, that has a stitch of a soul in architecture. It bleeds, it is embodied with nature, and it can we create a settlement where I feel proud of, that I've created it for the environment, not only purposely limiting myself to a one project. So maybe I am somebody talking something different, but that is what I wish, that creating any part of the city is your ownership. And let's see that that ownership we create, that we are walking within the city within the park, and create a neighborhood where I create a connectivity and a walkability from one neighborhood to another neighborhood, and I say this is now a cyclable and a walkable city, and I can be consuming less of petrol, less of other things put together. That is what is today required, and after COVID, I think we have learned that let's see that how we create a human settlement of that side. So I mean, maybe I'm an odd man out, but I wish that in case we sensitize about this issue, then we will be able to know what life is. मैं तो ये 5 भूतक शरीर के लिए सब कुछ करी जा रहा हूँ, हैं? लेकिन जो अंदर है, उसको तो मैं देख ही नहीं रहा हूँ. अरे कितना पैसा कमा लेंगे यार? मैं तो कहता हूँ उसको तो देखो जो अंदर बैठा है. That is my soul. कहते हैं आत्मा और परमात्मा जब मिल जाएं, तो जन्नत बन जाता है. जन्नत बिल्डिंग से नहीं बनता है. तो बिल्डिंग को इतना मत चमकाओ, दिल को चमकाए. दिल के साथ बिल्डिंग बनाएंगे तो बोलेगी, और वैसे चमका लेंगे तो आनंद आएगा. Let's not be into the pleasure, let's be in the आनंदा. जिस दिन आनंदा वाला क्रिएशन कर देंगे ना सर, तो उस दिन I will become the biggest builder. I will feel I am the biggest designer, और मुझे उस दिन आनंद आ जाएगा, यार ये डिज़ाइन मेरा है. This is my baby. I own it because this baby has all the potentials which are required, and it is not a cosmetic thing जिसको मैं बेचने जा रहा हूँ. ये तो मेरा बच्चा है, उसको तो मैं सुंदर ऐसा बनाऊंगा, कोई गलत काम नहीं करूँगा उसके साथ. So that is what I wish. Thank you very much, sir.
So yes, big hand to Charanjit sir. I think what he said is very, very close to our souls, which is the truth. The rest is fake. He's talking about 5 senses, creativity. I think that is the truth. So I would request all these people who have come from my previous town, Bombay. Though Bombay is growing vertically and money is the prime mover, to make a pledge today that at least 5 to 10% of their construction will go horizontal. At least to honor what Professor Charanjit has
We are
said.
noting.
Who said that? It's going live, huh? It's going live. We'll be held to Thank you, sir. And wonderful views. And really very close to our heart. That's the truth of the matter. So let's shift from money being the prime mover to maybe life being the prime mover. So my next question is now to the man known, New Mumbai is known by Arihant. Arihant is known by Akshay. So they're all synonyms. So I will switch the question which it's a real pleasure to see him again in flesh and blood. Because he is very, very active, very sensitive, all over the place, all the time. Superb human being. Connect with him as long as you can. And just don't allow him to get past your company. As long as you are here, he is here for the next 2 days. Now, sir, my question to you is almost identical to what I asked Nimish bhai. Another developer, seeing the space from New Bombay maybe, and what are your responses to the same question?
I heard Nimish bhai, and to you answer to your questions, sir, with my experience of Navi Mumbai development, the city of the 21st century, I have been staying in Navi Mumbai since 1987. So last 30 years, I have seen the Navi Mumbai grow right from 3 levels of structures to all the way up to now 60 levels of structures coming up in Navi Mumbai. So apart from the different levels of work that we do in Navi Mumbai, but Navi Mumbai as a city has grown in terms of infrastructure, schools, colleges, a lot of other things. But what we have really learned as developers, not just myself as a second generation developer, but the youth developers and the developers of Navi Mumbai and periphery, that the development that used to take place, or the way how construction activities, or the thought process of a developer, which was the planning, strategy, execution that was done a decade or 2 decades back, does not work anymore now. What you really have to do is have your skin in the game. You have to really plan for every level of construction, engineering, execution to take place in a timely manner. If not, project gets delayed. You cannot, the cash flows, it's going to be beyond your control. So then again, the blame game starts. He's a good developer. He doesn't like to take he doesn't like to put the blame on anybody else, but most of the developers would always like to hold somebody else responsible. Eventually, you have to take a guarantee on something with the regulator and the RERA coming in place. So what's important is, if you are the developer, you are the captain of the ship, it's most important that you have your the key roles defined, the responsibilities defined, you have ownership of the correct people assigned, so that they can take responsibility at the correct time and correct decisions can be taken. काम जैसे पहले होता था, काम होते होते हो रहा है and decisions लेते थे, आज वैसा नहीं हो सकता. You have to plan way ahead of time and see that things don't get delayed or spoiled and then take that decision. So with the uncertainty happening because of the pandemic and then the war and all these problems keep coming in the real estate industry. It's never been an end. Since the tsunamis came in of GST, RERA, I've seen it coming in the last 10 years. So nothing is going to stop, but your engineering efficiency has to be correct. You have to plan, strategize, and execute in a timely manner. Projects cannot get delayed. You have no second chances on that.
Thank you, Akshay. I think he's made a very, very pertinent point. In whatever he says, if you can package it, it is a too early planning, yours on the ground. I would like to ask him one question in public. I never asked him in private. How do you manage to sell how do you manage to sell at lower than the bench of the market? New Bombay, you're dominated by, I think, your cost of your selling. How do you manage that? Are you making money or not making money?
We are trying to make money, but what's important is that as a company, we have always wanted to do projects and construction with the cash flows coming in from the advance of bookings. So we always make sure at the time of launch, we have come up with schemes wherein we can sell good portion of the project at the launch, so that sustainability is there, and that for the cash flows, we don't have to generally take up on the loans and other things like that. So yes, we are trying to make money.
Fantastic. Big hand for the man from New Bombay.
Thank you.
Arihant. Okay, now last but not the least, the powerhouse think tank who's here. I mean, he will summarize everything that I said or I could say in the next 500 years. He will talk about product, innovation, technology, but I think closest to Vivek's heart, from what I could get while talking to him for 5-7 minutes, comes with the Dubai experience, is accountability and responsibility. Sometimes we find that 90% of us are responsible for something, but somebody else is accountable. So I think on his domain, largest of what he talks of governance or accountability and responsibility being with the same person. And the rest of the space. Over to you, Vivek. Mic is all yours.
So I feel, thanks guys, I feel that coming to take the point of what Nimish said, so what Nimish said about accountability and what Akshay said, the biggest thing is that we are forgetting that in this country, and what Mr. Charanjit said about creating smart development, first and foremost thing, are we creating for bona fide people? When as builders, Nimish and Akshay are creating, are they creating for bona fide users? In 80% of the times, excepting in cities like Bombay, in Gurgaon, Noida, everybody is creating for non-bona fide users, which are investors. The moment they find that they are going to go make money on that, they will pay the next installment. The moment they feel the market is slow, they will stop paying their next installment, and the whole cash flow goes for a toss, and that's where the builders earn a bad name. So this is just to come to the rescue of my friends on the right. About my friend on the left, yes, of course, when we don't create cities we don't have bona fide residents of any city in this country. Gurgaon, you know how many people are actually accounted for demographically? How many people are bona fide residents? How many people get bona fide water? How many people get bona fide electricity? A state or a civic body can provide, provided they know for how many people they have to provide. Everybody is hooking onto electrical wires, taking electricity, and then we have power cuts because, you know, the electricity board is only providing for 100 users, and there are 250 users already hooked onto that line. How many homes get metered water in this country? So any development that can take place can only take place provided we have a demographic calculation of this is the number of people who live in this city, this is the number of homes that we need to build, this is the kind of traffic that is going to be there, and that's why we create more and more haphazard development, and it's a knee-jerk reaction. So, you know, we did a long series with some of the friends sitting here, which was about public spaces. So in public spaces, there were people who are working, who are senior people in our domain, who are working as policy level creators, you know, who the government talks to them as policy decision makers. Then there are people who are kind of problem solvers. So when the problem comes in a city, I've just crossed, I don't know how many of you crossed, there's a new flyover that has come in front of Fortis Hospital. I think it could be the most ill-conceived flyover that you can even think of. It doesn't lead anywhere. Have you ever seen a flyover which literally hangs halfway between two roads? You can go left, you can go right, and that's the kind of development that happened because the Huda city center and there was a hospital across there to make some kind of an arrangement. So what I'm trying to say is that this is the nature of construction, infrastructure, building in our country. We are never able to plan in advance. That's why BIM and everything else, Grasshopper and all, is far away. In all our studios, I think, I do not know how much of BIM any practicing architect is using. Sushant is sitting here, he'll teach all of us maybe someday, but really we do not invest in that. As far as stakeholder is concerned, even the Supreme Court says that architects are not the only people who can make a building. Today, according to the law, architect is, you can write architect only if you are part of COA and you've done architectural education, but you are not the sole person responsible for making a building. Because any building that we make, there are various stakeholders. There is a structural engineer, there's an MEP, there's just about today, there is right from facade, everybody is there. So I think until and unless, and there is a huge trust deficit that we have. Not pointing out anybody, but I think the builders have a huge trust deficit on the team that they hired actually. They have a trust deficit with the architect, they have a trust deficit with the engineer, you know. They don't think that they do their job well. and they don't pay them well as well. So it's a vicious cycle that we are all into. The whole ecosystem is spoiled, and unless we build that trust, and each one with their domain knowledge which is professionally executed, if we work together, I think we can change the face of the way we build, how we build, and why we build. Also touching on the same thing what Mr. Charanjit Shah started with about the PPP model, I think that's, in my mind, I'm going to contradict him, is the worst possible thing that can happen. Because there is, in PPP model, there is no, the biggest problem is that there is no equitable distribution of profit. If the railways are going to give you land, they want their pound of flesh right up front, or they don't care about the project. Whereas I think the answer should be an SPV, and that is a specially project vehicle, as you call that, because there is an equitable distribution of profit, there is risk, and everything is. Delhi Metro is one big example of that. And the reason that it is successful is it's a special purpose vehicle which was created, and it was created with everybody's stakeholders being responsible. And they did a great job of it. So I think if we start looking at development of a city with SPVs, and we start looking at the responsibility of every professional into the domain that they're working in, we build a trust together, I think we'll be in a win-win situation.
Fantastic, Vivek. So he made a couple of points, big hand to him, yeah, before I. So he said, you know, bona fide, non-bona fide, fantastic. He said sell to end users, which probably is happening after COVID, hopefully. Delhi Metro, he said, Sridharan, the Metro man, and from what one has heard, unconfirmed, that he said, I will be in control, nobody will question anything that I do, trust will be 100%, but I will verify. So finally they said, trust 100%, but verify. And he said, no witch hunting, leave it to me. Polls will be there, but I'll try to control it as far as I can. I think this, if this goes forward, we can deliver in good time. I think he's made some brilliant points. One thing which he, I think, said finally very close to his heart is that the people on his right are very good, but they don't pay well. So big hand to that. I only hope that. I only hope that Nimish bhai and Akshay ji have listened to that, and that's a pain point. It's beautiful. I think it's a phenomenally good discussion.
I want to make one point. I was hearing to Charanjit Singh ji about creating public amenities, public spaces. So I'll just give you one small example. That does not mean that I'm justifying, or rather I'm saying that I'm trying to put some blame game to anyone right now. So we had a project in Vadala. It's a 100-acre property. We handed over approximately around 30 acres of a privately developed garden to the corporation. This was almost 1/3 of the total land, which is the largest garden, privately owned garden developed by a developer, and we handed over to the corporation. It is one of its kind. After which was the Kamla Nehru Park, I think. That is obviously it's been owned by the government since a very long time, but this was the second largest garden which we as a developer developed it. We could do this, sir, because it was a 100-acre property. Mumbai today, if you see, there are small streets, there are individual towers. There is no space for any public gardens or public parks or any facilities. So everybody, every developer who is wanting to buy a property wants to exploit it at the fullest. That is leaving us no choice to do that, but to just make and sell. That is why we see construction, all concrete jungles within Mumbai city. We are governed by the corporation rules and regulation as to what to develop, how much to develop. We are having FSI regulations. Every developer has it. That. Along with that, we've been lately been told that this is the kind of renewable energies which we have to try and we have to do wastewater management. You have to put sewage treatment plants and so on. If these things can be governed, why not the open public spaces by the municipality? Now these things, we've all traveled across the world. We see, so many open spaces in European countries, in America, in so many, worldwide we see public spaces, public park. यहाँ पे क्या होता है, फायर इंजन का एक स्पेस डाल दीजिए, एक पुलिस स्टेशन होना चाहिए, एक आप नाला ट्रेन करके करना चाहिए. That's it. Why we do have open spaces, but how they are managed, how they are maintained. So aren't we supposed to have a good governing body who also looks into these things, and they tell the developers that this is what you are developing for the building, but apart from that, this is also something which you need to do it as a compulsion. And I'm sure if that is the case, every developer will have to do that thing. So that is something which I want to highlight. Yes, it is not by choice, rather than we are compelled to exploit the property. That's purely from a Mumbai as a city point of view. Rest of the country, there is ample of open spaces, which we can do the best way as per your dream, what you look at. I just want to sum it up that yes, Mumbai as a city, we are within that small island, and we do not have enough open spaces. They do not want to reclaim the land as what people do it in Middle East. So I always say that why people in abroad, they can reclaim the land and construct. Why can't we do it in Mumbai? Today we have 17,000 kilometers of coastal line in India. Why is Mumbai city the only city in the world who are not been looking at reclaiming the land, reclaiming the sea, in the sea?
Nimish, I'm sorry, I'm just jumping the gun because, being a Delhi architect, you like to solve other people's problem. Pados ke ghar ki apni to samajhti nahi. So I've always been wanting to give all my friends in Bombay solutions to Bombay. You're very right.
Can I just finish my point, and then maybe I would like to hear that. So what I was saying that yes, reclaiming a land, it's just not about that we are trying to say that we eliminate the CRZ completely. We are destroying the mangroves completely. So you tell the developers that if you want to reclaim the land, this is how much you are going deep. These many mangroves you are demolishing. Make sure you do this thing 10 times than what the natural mangroves were. You try to make sure that all the natural resources are being compensated. Whatever damages you are doing, try and compensate and try to enhance and try to beautify that space. And this is what is happening all across the world. Well, so that was the only point. Please continue.
Yeah, so just, perfect point. I think I've been saying that why don't you reclaim? Today the CRZ is 500 meters, right? If you reclaim 1.5 kilometers and make the CRZ a kilometer, you'll be creating more green space for that matter. People do talk about, some of the friends who are against this kind of a thing, they always talk about whether the infrastructure, the sewage lines and everything can afford further development. I always say that layer it up, go another layer. Just leave the existing layer as it is, go another layer and create that. The other thing, perhaps what Mr. Shah was saying, I think builders, private builders, if they are not doing Prime Minister's Awas Yojana, are not into the business of provision. They are into the, at the end of it, the day, it's your balance sheet, how much money you are going to make. So what I think perhaps we architects feel is that if you don't have to consume the entire FSI, the regulation is not, it maximizes the FSI to 7 or 8 or 10, but it doesn't tell you to consume the entire FSI. You could create smartly. In fact, if I was to, what the example that he's giving of the homes which are about, 25 crores flats here, the only reason they are 25 crores is because they have appendages with them which are suiting the environment or suiting the people who are going to be living there. So the appended area gets into their cost, and even with a smaller area, with the consumption of smaller FSI, they're able to achieve the end product. In the sense, if you have to make 500 crores, you make with less number of flats or FSIs, create vertical gardens, create horizontal terraces, and do that. And I think perhaps that will be nourishing the soul.
We are doing that actually in certain
I'm
projects
sure, yes.
where we feel that even after using the entire project, entire FSI of that particular project, we are not going to make that much money. We try and compromise on that FSI. That okay, because the more higher we go, the cost of construction increases and the waiting time increases to execute and complete the project. By that time, I think it is always sometimes it depends upon a lot of project to project, area to area. Not that every project can afford to do the same, but quite a few projects where we are working, we are actually compromising and we are getting forgetting the FSI possible FSI over there in that project.
He'll be happy now.
Very nicely. No, I'm not saying that it's not a blame game that we're talking about, but I said first is that we need to make our presence felt. With the municipal bodies. Here we are the builders. We are making the city. Not you are not making the city. Like we're sitting here, we're making awareness about B2B. We can do that. Probably that is the mindset that we थे यार वो बंदे काम नहीं कर रहे मैं कर रहा हूँ उनको ठीक करना है ना सर. So in case we club together and we see that the governance who is doing something like you said the flyover bana diya. See, because public opinion is not taken. In the participative builders here in Gurgaon have not been taken into consideration and they are also not concerned. So probably that is the pinch of a flyover should come to all the builders. They should protest and we club together and see that this city is mine, like New Bombay is yours. You being the lead can come forward that this is my vision for the New Bombay to look upon into the urban fabric. How do you create that fabric? How do you create those public spaces? There can be some master plan which can be commonly taken up for making that city, and we say, oh, this is my city, this is my neighborhood, and we wish to do like this. And one point is that. The second is, what I feel is, where we have now many people as professional in one project. Can we have one as a lead?
Master craftsman.
Master, who is looking after everything. There's like a concept architect, then somebody is making GA drawing, somebody is making,
I think, sir, you made
other drawing. I'll just 1 minute. Because unless and until it is managed professionally, and let that architect or the person is also responsible for the cost. Not that, like you said, facade. Facade is generally left to the facade contractor, but not to a consultant, and that interface probably is missing. So in case we are able to club together the 20 consultants together under a lead, and then he becomes a responsible person, he looks after with the builder, and club together where the efficiency of the building, like you said, BIM, other things put together can be there, and even the time management possibly can also be done. Thank you.
Fantastic, sir, fantastic. I think he spoke of a SPOC, single point. I think I started the discussion with that. I think it's a phenomenally invigorating discussion. And I look for quick fixes. I don't look for long-term fixes. So in quick fix, I'm going to request TD. 2 tickets transferable. Nimish and Akshay stay back. Vivek and Charanjit go to Bombay. Okay, for some period of time. Big hand to all of them. I think it's been fantastic. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, esteemed panelists. We can just have one photograph. After the first panel discussion, now we have the second round of panel discussion. Now we have heard the architects and the developers. Now is the chance for the ancillary to speak up. Talk about what is there for you in the real estate industry. So now for the second panel, we have Easwaran sir, request you to please stay back as the moderator for the second session. We have Mr. G.S. Balaji joining us from Reliance Industries. He's the veteran in the real estate industry. We have Mr. Saurabh Bansal, Joint Managing Director, Dorset Group. We have Mr. Avnish Gupta, Kochi Global. We have Mr. Atul Desai, CEO and ED, PRISM Johnson RMC Division. We have Mr. Balachandran Dharman from RR Global. Request you to please come on stage. Atul ji, Avnish, Bala sir, Saurabh ji, please. Over to you, Hari sir.
I mean, you have put me in this box. I am not able to understand who's where, what to ask, and what to do now. Very quick time. So I think we eaten into a lot of time of the second panelists. And again, superstars here. And my first question to Saurabh Bansal ji, very close to my heart. And it says that COVID has made us, very close to toothpicks and tissues. Toothpicks for lifts and tissues for door handles. Don't want to touch anything. I think he is a man who's ahead of his times. The first question to him is, what is it in that space that, he's digitized, got into AI, and they say that the best minds are ahead of their times. Average minds are in their times, and the worst of minds are behind their times. He has always come across to me as somebody who's ahead of his times. So it's over to you now, Saurabh ji.
Thank you so much, Hari ji, for giving that introduction. Yeah, you're right. COVID has taught us many things. And as you've asked, what towards digitalization? I feel, and I have been witnessing this, that post-COVID and during COVID, people have got more focus towards their own houses, more focus towards larger living, more focus towards security, more focus towards convenience. And of course, all these marketing gimmicks which are available in the market from any brand, antibacterial, anti-COVID, and anti-this. I do not believe in this. I think COVID has to happen, will not go, will stay here for ages. So whether it is antibacterial or not does not matter. Coming back to digitalization, I feel that the bigger leap our country is taking towards AI, the country is getting educated on the lower segment as well. People are available on Wi-Fi networks. People have all smartphone applications available with them. They know how to operate smartphones. So on the digital front, if you talk about us at Dorset, we have been the first introductory company in India who got the first IoT-based lock in India. This is just 2 years back before COVID. And we have successfully installed about 40,000 such units already across country. And the leading Trump Towers in Mumbai or the Camellias at Gurgaon, many such properties we've installed. So when I talk about digital door locks, I mean that it's a convenience. It's a tool which every house owner is looking forward to. You are sitting here, there is somebody who's waiting outside your doorstep. You want to give him access through a mechanical lock, you cannot give him an access. Sitting here, you just pin up your, take up your mobile on your app, you just give him the OTP, he puts the OTP, he enters into an house. So that's a convenience which has come into place. Children have been going down in condominiums, apartments, playing down, coming back, and then their mama is busy cooking, and then of course she has to rush to open the door from inside. So all that has converted into convenience by the introduction of digital technology. And this has taken place globally, not only in India. So on the digital front, there has been a lot of innovations. A lot of companies have gotten good products. There's a lineup of products available, and I think the consumers are focused towards it. The consumers require this. The developers have started understanding these requirements. And I think slowly and gradually, there is going to be a shift from the mechanical technology to electronic technology on the main door. And of course, IoT is going to play a big major role in it.
Fantastic, Saurabh. Thanks, and good to hear you.
When I say international, now in India, unfortunately, we don't have any norms, so it becomes imperative that we follow the norms which are prevalent worldwide. And if you are not having a product tested and certified on those norms, it's impossible to do a project over there. So similarly, here also, we have been trying to educate our colleagues, our fraternity over here. We are trying to bring a change in their perception, play area has to be developed with products which are being tested and certified on these international safety standards. And there is a lot of change which is coming in the market now. This also helps. Now, play areas, a lot of, as Mr. Hari started the discussion, the first discussion with an incident which has happened in Gurgaon where some accident happened and there was a blame game, who's responsible and all. Definitely what happens, that means there has to be, someone has to take a liability, someone is responsible, someone has to take the responsibility of that event. Now here in this case, when such a mishap happens, let's say in a play area, anywhere in the, if you are using a product which is tested and certified, you can always say that it is an accident, not negligence. So that means as a developer, you are distancing yourself from the liability clause, liability suit, which may come your way. So that's why it's very essential that products, whether it's being of X brand or a Y brand or a Z brand, it is always used keeping this aspect in mind that the products are tested and certified. And there are a lot of certifications which are available in the market. For each product category, there is a separate product certification. Now coming to the point which Mr. Hari is saying, now we are now going beyond the traditional play equipment, which was maybe a swing and a slide or a seesaw and all. So we have entered this domain of digital play equipment called interactive play equipment. Now this is something which is for the age group maybe 6 to 60. A father and son can go and play in the play area. So it brings, or maybe mother can go with a daughter, or maybe husband and wife can go, and then they can play on these equipment. So that's a change which we are trying to bring in this industry by providing safe equipment and by providing new improvisations, new innovations, new unique concepts in the product. So, anything?
Yes, friend, thanks, friend. And the first panel discussion ate up some of our time. So I think he said something very brilliant. Now I want a question to Joseph. You know, I attended Kavi Sammelan. So he said, finally, he said, seeing the crowd here, so he says, finally, one guy comes on to speak and he says, only one person is waiting. So after he finishes his Kavi, he says, yeah, thank you very much for waiting. Thank you, you find my poem very good. He said, no, I didn't find your poem good, I am the last speaker. So I only hope that we are able to excite you all. So I'm coming to now RR cable. Okay, so he says, I remember one thing in my life, that civil engineers और electrical engineers में एक फर्क है कि civil engineer का जो fault है ना, दिखेगा पहले check करेगा horizontal fault है, vertical fault है. अगर vertical fault है हो सकता है support system column में कोई लफड़ा है, horizontal है तो ठीक है चलेगा. But अगर electrical बंदे का एक दिन आपके घर में light चला गया, all your life you will curse that guy. You will never remember कि 364 days there was no problem. So coming to RR cable, I want him to take this question from that point of view, in terms of what is their USP, what are they adding, are safety measures for electrical equipments in place in the country, and very quick answer, sir, because we are running out of time. All these people want to go and hit the bar, and that's going to take 1 hour, I think, from what I have heard, including you maybe, because you're also getting excited. Yes, sir.
Thank you. No, sadly, standards are not improving at all. The fact is, anything that goes behind the wall, I think all of us expect that when we put the switch, the light has to burn. But, yeah. But sadly, what is happening is, every home is getting loaded with the equipment that you want. Day after day, the electrical load is increasing, but there's nothing that is being done to the standards. Even now, the NBC code, which took about 6 years to compile, is yet to be implemented in many states. So, as developers here, and then even from the government side, everybody is looking at a low-hanging fruit. I'm not here to criticize anyone, but I think BIS standards now is abysmal. Anybody can, fulfill whatever BIS wants. But the fact is, nobody wants to take the issue and address it. That's because I think the easiest solution is not wait for the government to do something. We as developers, architects, engineers, consultants, manufacturers, we can set up a standard that we want. Because I remember a few years ago, before CREDAI was even started, when the CREDAI logo came, people had developed so much of confidence. If there's an ad which any developer puts up with the CREDAI logo, that brought in a lot of confidence among the common public. He said, yes, there is a certain amount of standard. But can we develop something like that on electrical standards? Because government, the wheels move very, very slow. We are there from our manufacturing end trying to put some sense into the government, try to change, because this standard which has been here now, it's about 30, 40 years old. Still we're looking at PVC. BIS still mandates, or it still allows PVC insulated cable. That was a time when our homes were probably wired by a few lights, tube lights, or the bulbs, and a few fans. You compare that and today's load. So there is no comparison at all. So if you want to do something, bring what is behind the wall, bring it out in the realm of everybody's decision making. I think we can move it. We can put the government. The best example is, somebody quoted earlier, Delhi Metro it's a good template. And that template is being used by metros across the country. And it happened because one Dr. Sridharan wanted a free hand. Trains running below the ground are running safe, but buildings above the ground, still accidents happen. And the easiest thing that happens is label it short circuit. Countless deaths are happening every day, about 40 to 50. Enough statistics are there, but we read it, a few days of hue and cry, and then it's completely forgotten, and then we wait for the next thing to happen. So instead of waiting for these things to happen from the government side, we can take the initiative. So bring it back so that all of us join together and set up a standard. At least not set up our own standard, follow global standards. For everything else, we want global standards. But why don't we look at electrical safety from a global perspective?
So very quick, thank you, sir. Thank you. And very quick thoughts. I think they're running short of time occupation in the hotel. I am to blame for that, because I think the first panel discussion we spoke a lot. So now my question to, and keep it short and sweet, and it's like, condensed milk. Let them go and unravel, then use that condensed milk tomorrow and make lots of milk out of it. But now maybe 3-4 lines quickly. I was talking to him, and RMC. Superb. He said something, developers fix amount of cement in the contract. Ke 300 kilo hona chahiye minimum, 240 kilo. He says, but the kind of research and development we are doing as RMC manufacturers, people are not aware that the combo that we have with admix, type of cement, what we do, the price will get reduced. So I think for the developer lobby, there is a lot to learn here. And over to you, sir, for your quick 3-4 pointers, condensed milk.
Yeah. So I'm not the last speaker, so don't worry.
No, he's already condensed.
So let me keep it very short. We are in this industry for last, if I consider our parent company, we are the pioneer in the ready-mix concrete in the world. And in India, we are more than 3 decades of our experience with the RMC. We strongly say that, or proudly can say, that we know concrete better than most of the people here. Unfortunately, our stand of knowing concrete, or I would say research what we are doing on how to reduce the cement consumption in each rich mixes is not being fully reaching to the customer. And I was talking to here also, I said in a inflationary pressure what all of us are facing, commodity prices are going up, cement prices are going up, steel prices are going up, and customers are not ready to pay. It's a very simple thing. So we have to think about how do we really reduce our cost, and that is possible by respecting the expertise and research of us and ask for the performance. I want M30 grade, I want M40 grade, and leave the mix design to us. We are the expert. If you do not perform, you penalize. But why are you or your consultants, everybody has spoken to, and sometimes they say 300 kg dal do, और किसके cost में? Means when we internally, when we look at this and we feel that what is the sense of this research? Why we are keeping so many people and thinking about reducing the cost? So my respect is, since this is the right platform for us, and we rightly said what is for us as RMC, I appeal to all of you, ask for the performance. If you want 30, you ask for 35, no problem. If you want M35, you ask for M40. We will provide you 40 with a less cement consumption at better price. Thank you very much.
So fantastically said. I think let's leave the mixed design to them. Some of them who got. Sandeep, you want to say something after you have a couple of drinks? I think you make more sense at that time. Sorry? Huh? Already drunk? Okay. Then we'll listen to you later. When are you going to start Zomato, Swiggy and sell RMC? He says, "Pehle to mera mix design to check kar lo pehle." What drinks have you mixed today? Okay, so very quickly now, when the Nationalist, this book was released in Taj, Bombay, Mukesh Ambani and A.M. Naik were present. And I served with L&T with A.M. Naik, but they said that when the book was released, both spoke about each other. So Mukesh Ambani went on the stage and said, see, Naik and me have done a lot of deals. And every time we have done a deal, I went and told my wife that I made a fool out of him. He went and told his wife that he made a fool out of me. Until today, we don't know who made a fool out of whom. Okay, so now the last speaker is going to be the Reliance guy. So we gave him only 2-3 minutes. So, and he's heard, and they said and listened to everything very closely. So I want him, his last views on whatever the two panel discussions have had today. I know.
That's what he wants to know, who is making a fool of whom. Good evening, everybody. I think he has made my life very easy that I have to speak very less and nothing, and I can do BS here. This is what he has said. But lovely discussion on relevant topics. And let me use a phrase what Mukesh says. Data is going to be the next oil. So let's all be prepared for that. And I think the COVID has proved that there's going to be a huge consumption of data. And data has definitely increased the consumption of everybody. And as he said, from an electrical point of view, from a digital point of view, the consumption of this particular product in terms of in everybody's home has gone up so much. Initially, there was not great demand. The diversities were quite sufficient to take care of eventualities in buildings. Today, with work from home happening and all, your diversity of whatever you have provided in the design is gone. You are literally working on unity. Every room is working, every AC is working, everybody's internets are working, the kitchen is working, every appliance is on. So the diversity is gone. So we have to plan for those kind of eventualities in future. So when designers and everybody work, we need to see that the provisions that you are making are not sufficient from the old standards. You have to make more additional provisions now. Some of the accidents that he mentioned or some of the incidents that we see are related to fire in the building rather than anything else. The major incidences are fire incidences. And this is one of the reasons that because of the load going up and the provisions that were made were insufficient, the accidents do happen. Second, as everybody was saying that we have a touch and feel of glass, we have a touch and feel of everything needs to be spick and span and should look nice and good. We are making our buildings enclosed. So a lot of safety aspects in terms of how the heat, the heat island effect is happening needs to be looked into in each of the designs, and the developers should ensure that this particular aspect of heat island effect is considered. You must all have seen a lot of incidences where the building, when fire takes place in a building, it does not rise high. That is the normal convention that people think that the fire goes up. But many buildings you would have seen that the fire goes down also. Many of the buildings in Dubai, the facade caught fire. And people did not realize why it was not traveling up and why it was traveling down. One of the incident in Bombay also, the fire traveled down. These are certain what you call as the heat not moving up but the heat moving down. These are certain things that are happening in high-rise buildings, which is also a problem which needs to be resolved. Coming to efficiency of concrete, which was mentioned by Mr. Desai, yes, cost is a very important factor, but there is something called a cycle time also which the developers want to achieve. So they want a stronger material where de-shuttering can take place faster. They can't keep shuttering in place. So they expect him to put more cement. There are cases when we give this responsibility to the mixed design people, the concrete manufacturers also. We have seen that there are cases of bordering. Suppose I ask for an M50 grade. My target strength after 28 days as per IS standard, if I have to get at least 15-20% more, let us say about 57, 58 newtons per millimeter squared, they will achieve 51, 52. They will say, I have achieved your M50 grade, but sometimes it does not qualify. With all the admixtures and other things and the cement replacement that they are doing, definitely you will get a long duration of it. Sometimes it may not satisfy your IS requirements. These needs to be looked into. So the target strength at the mixed design stage should be achieved at any case, not that it is only the characteristic strength that is achieved. Second, the last point that he mentioned about, the best point I liked is that all the equipments, play equipments are not designed for children alone now. It is designed even for the elderly. Well, that's an eye-opener for me. I thought only children use the play equipment, and wonderful thought process that the innovation is going to those extent that even it is for people from the age of 6 to 60 that they can use the play equipment. Thank you, that was wonderful.
Thank you, and it's been a wonderful pleasure. Big hand for all of them. I just want to conclude with one thought. I think both of them spoke of, trying to change regulation. Nobody is listening. I think the forum of CREDAI, MCHI, and the kind will play a huge role there. I think, Joseph, you must take this up. With that note, I think a big hand to all of them. Thank you very much for being patient.
Thank you, Hari Saab. Thank you for the lovely.
Thank you, thank you. Just wait for 5 minutes. Thank you. It was a lovely panel session. Do the photo op. Dear all, we have a small token of thank you for all our event partners. Would request someone from Jacquard, our title partner, to come on stage, and would request Mr. D.R. Jalan to come and felicitate them. D.R. Jalan, sir. Can we have Mr. Saurabh Bansal from Dorset for the felicitation? Dorset, our powered by partner. Can we have Mr. Easwaran sir and felicitate our premium partner Everest? Our powered by partner KNS Manufacturing. Can we have Mr. Gurpreet Kohli? तो बेबी चाहिए तो वो बताना कुछ है
तू रुकना अभी 2-3 ले सकते हैं
अबे कौन Mr. T.D. Joseph, can you all felicitate our powered by partner KNS Manufacturing LLP? Request our premium partner Polycab India Limited. अरे मैं यहाँ पे देख रही हूँ यार प्लीज देख वैसे पॉलीकैब का नाम ही आता है तो पॉलीकैब मैंने तो नहीं किया
पक्का वो अनाउंस कर देंगे प्लीज बोल यहाँ से देख के बोल बोल
वीर हमने करवा दे यार Mr. Sanjay Vashne, can we please have Tata Pravesh, our premium partner, Mr. T.D. Joseph and Mr. Sanjay Vashne to felicitate. Can we have our patron partner Build On? Build On. Can we have EcoShine, our patron partner? Can we have Mr. Balaji and Mr. Vivekanand Bhatt to felicitate JSW Steel? Thank you. Can we have Mr. Nilesh Puranik, sir? Okay. Can we have Kutri on stage?
अभी कोई चेंज नहीं होगा अभी वही 3 खत्म करेंगे यही चेंज कर सकते हैं इसको डॉर्सेट को बोला फाइन थी तू बोला कल नाम ले
Can we have our patron partner Magpie? Can we have our patron partner RMC?
अभी कोई दिख रहा है और
हाँ तुलसीदास
थैंक यू
मैंने जो आगे बोल दिया हरी सर एंड Thank you. Thank you, sir. Can we have Mr. Tulsidas on stage? Can we have our patron partner R.R. Kabul? R.R. Kabul? Can we have our preferred partner Deconic? Can we have Mr. Nimish Ajmera on stage? So, can we have our preferred partner Fugitech on stage?
अभी सौरभ बंसल को बुलाएं. Thank you so much. Before we move on, call me. Thank you. Before we move on, thank you, Kapilala. Before I move on, I would like to invite Mr. Saurabh.
Thank you so much. Before we move on, would like to call Mr. Saurabh Bansal to invite everybody for the party.
So thank you so much, our dear friends from Mumbai, Delhi, our architect fraternity, developers from all across Bangalore and elsewhere. We would like to thank you for our association with you and would like to look for continuous support in the coming days and times. So let's talk beyond business. So let's have a fun evening tonight at Chevron, and let's keep business aside and just have glam and glitter in the evening. So I invite each and every one of you to have some good, joyful moment with us. Thank you. Thank you.
Request all of you all to gather at sharp 8:45 at the lobby, as our Volvo will be leaving by 8:45 for the party. Thank you.